on the suit. Drink water. Don't drink and drive.
Game over!
Take it light. Okay.
Now you're more fluent.
Mackinac, he got three!
Up, Bears.
So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Welcome back to Texas Rangers with the Boys. We are the Boys, your daily Texas Rangers podcast by a couple of pro wrestlers who love Rangers baseball. And hey, we want to thank you for making us the first listen of your day. This is your boy Kevin, aka YBK, Kevin Frazier. Man, oh man, the Rangers are on, as we might say, a heater. 5 in a row, sweep, 4 at home with the White Sox, handling business, doing what the team needs to do to get themselves in a position to compete. We got Jacob deGrom news. I think we've got Tyler Mahle news. I don't really know. Definitely we got some Dane Dunning news. And then we'll talk a little bit about these two box scores. We'll also preview the weekend against Toronto. And, man, we got a lot to talk about Rangers-wise. And then also you can check me out on social media at social media at Kevin Lee Frazier. That is Frazier. You can also find Texas Rangers with the Boys on social media, TX Rangers WTB. And then you can also check us out on that website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com, all one word. And you can also check us out right here on YouTube. See our Made for Radio faces. Watch us on video. I know that some of y'all just watch us on YouTube. So go to the YouTube, and then you can go up into that search bar, type Texas Rangers with the Boys, and we will pop up, and you can subscribe on the Sports Fluent Network, and that's where we're hanging out on YouTube. So my co-host, the 300-pound manimal, a.k.a. Bull, he will be joining us tonight. He is having a few technical difficulties, but he will be popping on the show here to give you the in-depth, savant-level, takes on the Texas Rangers. He's got a lot to talk about. I know it, considering he hasn't gotten to give his 2 cents really too much on this Chicago series. And man, we got a lot to be excited about with this Texas Rangers team here. So why don't you let me go ahead and get into it, and then he'll probably come around and come behind me here and give you a few more details as it relates to these different things. So your Texas Rangers right now sitting in the division, I believe right now hanging out 2.5 games out of first place, which puts them only 1.5 games behind. 1.5 games behind Seattle, division rival. So the Rangers have done what at times this year seemed almost like the impossible, and have turned things around, righted the ship. Pretty much, the hitting has improved, and we've seen some good signs of it. But really, Rangers doing a lot of things right at every level in terms of, they played some small ball, they've run the bases, they pitched really well. The bullpen has been as good as it's probably been all year long, and they're doing enough on offense to win ball games, and they're winning the games they're supposed to win. Can't stress enough how big that one win they got there at the end of that Baltimore series really was for them. Coming out of the All-Star break and having a couple of tough losses against Baltimore to come out and win that one on a Sunday to pick up a little momentum going into this 4-game sweep of Chicago. And, the good teams beat the bad teams. That's so many times if your team is losing games they shouldn't be losing to teams that they should be beating, it's not a good sign in terms of their long-term success when it comes down to how their season is going to pan out. But Rangers, man, winning games against teams they should be beating. That sweep doesn't seem like it might not seem in the big scheme of things like it's that big of a deal, but with the trade deadline coming up and, us really wanting our team to be in the buyer's market, really the negotiating market, we want this team to be leveraging themselves to make a playoff run, make themselves better. And, I really feel like there's definitely was enough rumors swirling around that if they didn't get in contention, that they were going to be sellers at the trade deadline and not hang with what they had and try to, turn things around or maybe make a couple of moves to improve their team. So right now the team's doing everything that they can, playing with a sense of urgency. The top dogs on the team are carrying their load as well. And you love to see that from the, our $500 million middle or $500 million middle infield. So first things first, Rangers news wise, as it goes. So Dane Dunning looks like he has been activated, which means Gerson Garabito, he's going back down to the minors. Garabito, I still think has a pretty, I think he's got a future as a major league ball player. I mean, if you watch that sweeper slider that he throws, he's got some movement on that. He's throwing 94 miles an hour, really composed and poised out on the mound. So he probably, just as long as he pays his dues a little bit, whether it's the Rangers or somebody else, he's probably going to get a crack at the major leagues and get a chance to play at the big league level because he's got some stuff. Now, Dunning had been on the injured list since July 5th, second time this year with the shoulder thing. Now, we've seen it was similar to the Josh Sborz, and we've seen Josh Sborz come back and pitch pretty good. And so he's coming back. He made a couple of rehab appearances with AA and one with AAA, and 5 scoreless there. So that's a good thing because, man, not getting lit up at the PCL anytime, no matter who you are, is always a good deal. So good to see him coming back. I think that he has the opportunity he can spot start for you if you need it, but also too, man, giving you some of those middle relief innings. And as you saw, like the Rangers, they got 13 in a row. They had a 14 gamer earlier this season. Now they got 13 in a row coming off of the All-Star break. So all the depth that they can get pitching wise, the better. And as you saw, in that last game, Robertson getting 2 innings there at the end to spell Kirby Yates. The Rangers when you play this many games in a row, especially with that back end of the bullpen, and say you're winning, you're winning some games, you're doing what you got to do. That closer can't come out every single night for 13 days in a row. Say you go on a 13-game winning streak, he's not coming out every single night. So having David Robertson, what a luxury. But also having guys that can pull that kind of weight, like Sborz, like Robertson, like even Jose Leclerc. I mean, we know he can. So the Rangers bullpen looking really good right now, and getting Dane Dunning back in there is going to be a big boost for the team. Now, the Jacob deGrom news, I know I teased it a little bit the last time we talked, but I didn't have enough meat to talk about, but kind of did a little more digging here. Now, deGrom, he has, man, this is wild, y'all. We're this close. We are this close to Jacob deGrom in that major league uniform coming out and pitching for this team again. I'm so excited, man. He is an electric personality out there. And I mean, just the leadership, having guys like him, Simeon, and Seager out there on that team. It's just like, man, you're talking about 3 legitimate all-star players, and to go along with another amazing group of players, and really a nice mix of veterans and young players. But deGrom, he's got 3 more live batting practice, live BP before he goes out on rehab. So that's some good news. I mean, it's if you're out there at Round Rock or Frisco or wherever deGrom's going to end up doing his rehab at, I mean, man, you better get your big boy pants on, because, man, it's going to get nasty when Jacob deGrom comes out there and starts throwing, as Bochy called it, as throwing 94, 95 effortlessly. He says it's pretty cool to watch how effortless it is hitting 94, 95. So, and then again, in Bochy's words, it was a light day for him too. So So that's pretty cool, man. Like, pretty cool to see that Jacob deGrom is, looking like he's getting back into form, and that Bruce Bochy had some good things to say about the way he looked. Well, without further ado, it's been a minute, but we're back. We're ready because, guys, the boys are back. Joining me, as always, the man with the beard that stretches from coast to coast. the man, I don't know, the guy, the man, the myth, the legend, the world traveler, the 300-pound manimal, aka Bull. There he is. Come on, he's back. We're back. The boys are back. We're here.
All right.
Let's go.
All right, man. Sorry, I'm 11 minutes late. Like,
Oh.
I mean, the amount of things that, today I was cross-country road tripping with my little buddy, Big Beef, Jake Garvin, who is a tremendous wrestler, who called me the other night when I was in Pennsylvania, and he said, "Hey, can I ask you a favor?" And there's about a handful of people in this world that I would do a favor for. And Kevin knows this. There's very few people that I would drive from Pennsylvania to Louisville, Kentucky to pick up, to take him to Arlington, Texas, so he can get his tryout. Excuse me, I've been on the road with my boy all day, so let me get the F-bombs out,
Yeah, drop it.
But he's got a tryout this weekend with Ring of Honor. So he's going to be working in Arlington all weekend this weekend with the guys from Ring of Honor and AEW. And he asked me if there was any way that I could take care of him and get him on the road and bring him back home with me. And he's one of those kids that, he's always done everything right, and he's listened, and he's one of the real good kids in pro wrestling. So anything I can do to help him get to his goal in wrestling, I would more than do it. And you're talking about the beard. Can you tell I got a trim?
Man,
can you tell?
Sharp, man.
Look at me.
Yeah.
But yeah, vacation good. Getting back into town. I'm in the garage tonight because I didn't feel like setting up in the living room because poor Jake got to the hotel room and didn't realize that he was going to need a card for incidentals. So I had to take care of that too and make sure my little buddy, my little brother, man, he's my little brother. I love him to death, and he's one of the good kids that has really worked hard in this. So anything I can do for him to help him, and he made that 13 hours from Louisville to Dallas a really enjoyable trip today. So we had a good time. I heard you were talking Rangers. Did you tell them all about Manimal Bull on some of the Instagram?
I'm not gonna botch it for.
I know. I heard you botch it the other night. You were close. You were close.
I saved social media. I also saved Matt War Pro.
Oh, that's today.
When we get through with that, you can give me your 2 cents on Dunning, Garabito, and Jacob deGrom. So take it away.
Okay, so Manimal Bull on Twitter, Instagram, Manimal300, and both Facebook and TikTok at Bull Pro. Matt War Pro is tonight. It's tonight. And believe it or not, that's why I'm home. Because I'd much rather be in Pennsylvania right now. There's no doubt about it. But that's not here nor there. Tonight is Matt War Pro. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in action. And if you want to see the Manimal wrestle, come on out to Matt War Pro tonight. It's going to be a big time. Everybody's going to be there. Kelly's Onion Burgers is going to be there. Starry's Ice Cream is going to be there. I heard the chocolate lady and the cotton candy lady are going to be there. And Martin House Beer is going to be there giving out all the beverages. And you heard that right, giving out all the beverages because they're giving away free beer all night tonight. So come on out, have a beer, have a burger, enjoy the wrestling. It's Ultraviolet Dreamers Day. I mean, it doesn't feel like a hypothermia mania, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be. And we're all looking forward to tonight. It's going to be a big time. And I personally can't wait to get back into the ring because it has been December since I've been in the ring with everything going on and all of that. So looking forward to being back in the ring at Matt War Pro.
Love it.
Tonight, Friday, July 26th, Ultraviolet Dreamers, a hypothermia mania. All right, so Dunning's back. Dunning's throwing the ball. Probably going to still work out of the bullpen right now. I thought maybe he'd get that start for Scherzer today with him kind of being a to be announced all day up until yesterday afternoon. But Scherzer got the ball. Scherzer took the ball, did what he needed to do with the ball for the Rangers to come out today with another one. It feels good, right? I don't care if it's the White Sox or not. Maybe just them seeing things go well for themselves and win.
I mean, it didn't go well against Colorado, and Colorado's not a very good team.
Yeah, so I mean, we can watch it go bad against these bad teams, and for them to get all 4 of these, have a big homestand that looked like a disaster to start the weekend. Right, last weekend we were like, "Oh, what's happening here?" Oh, they salvaged one, and now here we are 4 days later, and we're talking about them taking the whole sweeping the 4-game series, taking 5 out of 7 on the homestand, and exactly what we said they needed to do.
Yeah.
Take a big homestand and have, get 5 wins out of this. It would have been nice to get 6, sure, but of course it would be. But, you get 5 of the 7. It's all you can really ask for. I mean, if the Orioles on our trip and your Orioles are on a homestand and you win 5 out of 7 on that homestand, things are okay.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't tell us what games we were going to win and what games we were going to lose, and you told us and we asked and you said, hey, you're going to take 5 of 7 in 5 of 7 against the White Sox and the Orioles, you're taking it all day.
You take it. Yeah, it doesn't matter how they come as long as the 5 wins come out of that thing and you take that. And Garrison Garabito, he's kind of just been a piece all year. When they need him, he's thrown. He's been okay. He hasn't been awful for him, but. He's probably a AAA pitcher for the most part, but he's probably going to stick on the 40-man through the rest of the season unless something, catastrophic happens, or they just know that with DeGrom and those guys coming back that they got to make that move or whatever. But we'll just kind of see how it goes. You said DeGrom. I don't know the news. Is he throw a bullpen? Is he throwing?
He's got
up and down. Is he?
Well, he's got 3 more. He's got 3 more bullpen live batting practice is what they called it. He's got 3 more live BP. Then he goes out on
an assignment.
On rehab. I mean, that's
close. I mean, we're getting close. So you're talking 15 days, and he'll be ready to hit the road. That's all you can really ask for. And with Tyler Mahle getting real close now, Kumar Rocker getting his assignment to Frisco, so. Yeah, you're starting to see like the pieces are starting to get healthy, and those guys that we've been excited about getting back all season are getting back. And I'll be damned if the Rangers aren't exactly in that kind of spot that we hoped they would be.
Yeah, they're catching a little bit of heat right now.
Yeah, because it's 2.5 now, right? I mean, it was 10 on June 1st. It was 10 on June 1st. It's 2.5 right now. I read the other day on some of the Texas Rangers fan pages about be realistic. It's 4 games. It's like be realistic. They're sellers. It's 4 games. They're under 500. Get out of here with that. I mean, when you're 2.5 games back, you're not a seller. If nothing else, they're a stand pat team right now with the idea that they're getting some health back. I mean, I still think they need to get an outfield bat. I think that they need to figure out a way to swing something to get them a guy that can hit. But, hopefully Evan Carter will be that guy when he gets back. And we're talking he should be Monday, Tuesday, somewhere like that. Tuesday when minor league baseball gets kicked back off, he should be hitting a rehab assignment or soon after that.
Yeah, and don't forget Josh Young's coming back. And,
because he starts his assignment today, right? Tonight?
Yeah, he starts on the weekend, the 26th. So
that'd be tonight, yeah.
He'll be starting today. And then, with DeGrom, now I kind of mentioned a couple of different things about him. I told you about about when his kind of timetable, what it's looking like. And then Bruce Bochy had a nice little excerpt about it that he said that he said it's like artwork in motion watching this guy pitch. And he said he makes 94, 95 just look effortless. So that's just as good a news as you can get hearing the Boch talk about that with the team. Now, I did want to get your take. Now, again, this is probably pie in the sky and probably the Orioles full of what. But they were kicking around. I heard them kicking around that Mountcastle is available. Plays left field, plays first base. Definitely
right-handed bat.
2 more years controllable, arbitration control, not controllable, but arbitration years means you're going to get a team-friendly deal for 2 years on the
Yeah, as long as you're willing to tender a contract, yeah.
bashes lefties, like destroys left-handed pitching, which the Rangers need help with. And again, he can play the positions that the Rangers could use that kind of versatility with a guy like that. Now, obviously, you're going to give up something for him because he's a daggum good player.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to give up a starting pitcher for it, which you got plenty of that to give up. But what I brought up about Mountcastle, and I wanted to kind of see where you were at on this. This is not necessarily the exact guy, though he would be a great guy. But that's kind of the guy I want, like
that outfield bat that can play a couple of different positions, and on tough lefty nights you can give Nate Lowe a day off, and you can get him in the
he's on your bench,
and you've got a guy like him coming off of your bench late in the game against lefties. He smashes lefties.
Need more Lowe, because if you get Lowe off your bench, they're going to if they bring a righty in, you got Lowe there to come in there against a righty. That kind of guy. Sorry to interrupt. You were talking. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Well, and again, I don't know. I've been kind of keeping up with what's available out there, and if Mountcastle is available, I don't know that he is. I know that the Orioles have been kicking around the idea of trading Santander too. So. They're kind of in a position where they've got more bats than they can handle, and they've got guys that are kind of controllable, kind of okay, like on that back end that they can trade away, like Santander, Mountcastle, those guys that are good hitters, not exactly a Stern in the position type guy, but they can play a handful of positions. So they have a lot of intrigue, especially with, a Rangers team that's looking for a bat. I just don't know what the Rangers are, their goal is, if they're looking to stand pat and try and get healthy and run with what they've got going down the stretch, or if they feel like they need a bat. Some days Adolis Garcia looks like he's 70 years old out there on the field. So
some days he looks like he's resurgent.
Yeah, so it's like you don't know what you're going to get with him from day to day. Not that I'm looking for a reason to take him out of the lineup, but he hasn't been a very good player since May 1st. Mm-hmm. You're looking at a long stretch now. That's a couple of months that he hasn't been a very good player, for about 90 days now. Not to say that I don't think Adolis Garcia can turn it around, not to say those things, but I am, interested to see where they kind of go with that pitch, what they're like. Me, I was ready to trade him in the offseason, but it was blasphemy then. And when we talked about this, it was like, it's not that the idea is stupid. It's not that the idea is wrong. It's not that that's not a good idea. It's the fact that this is a guy that just helped this team win their first World Series. He was the MVP of the National League, the American League Championship Series. You're getting a relatively club-friendly deal on it. But I think the club-friendly deal came from the idea that, hey, man, you still got to prove it, year in and year out. I know you've had a good, solid first 3 years. And, the reason he didn't get the ARB money that he was wanting was because of the idea that this could happen, this kind of setback could happen. And it has happened, and he hasn't made adjustments to it just yet. But you see nights where you start feeling like it could be the turnaround. And hopefully, last night and into today was another one of those kind of turnarounds for him.
Yeah. And as far as just with the Rangers, another reason that Mountcastle to me is that, and again, I use him as more of a placeholder as much as maybe I'm not married to this player. I'm married to this, not married to.
Yeah. The idea of he's got a couple of years behind this, and if it doesn't work out for you, he's still tradable, and
it just doesn't cost you a ton of money if you're trying to be frugal. That's what I like about. That's what makes this kind of move for the Rangers a good move. That's the kind of move I could see them making. You're
not looking to pay him. You're looking to put him in a position to get paid.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And so anyway, anyhow, that was fun talk there. I just wanted to get.
I don't
really,
hate it. Like I said, I think that they could use a bat. I don't think that. I mean, every night that they throw Jankowski in the DH hole, I die a little.
Yeah, it just tells you, they need.
I would rather see Foscue go up there and struggle than watch Jankowski hit now. I mean, because either way, it's going to be a struggle both ways. So I get it. I mean, look, like I said, we've talked about this before. We don't hate Jankowski. We just like him as a fifth outfielder on Sunday afternoons whenever they've already taken 2 games of the series.
He might be the best fifth outfielder in baseball.
Yeah, I agree.
But he's not.
I agree. I don't hate him out there, but if I can see Tavares, Langford, Garcia, and another bat that isn't Robbie Grossman, and I mean, of course, I got concerns about the lineup and the guys that are in it, and it hasn't been great all season, but they've gotten contributions in these last couple of weeks from guys. I mean, because they went into the All-Star break hot, they came out of the All-Star break hot. So there's not a lot you could complain about. But at the same time, I mean, you'd still love to see another bat. I'd still love to see nights where, like I said, Travis Jankowski isn't the starting center fielder or starting DH. I'd like to see him be the starting right fielder on Sunday night when they've already got 2 games in the bag and they don't mind if they lose one on a Sunday afternoon.
Yep. Give Adolis Garcia a blow. One other quick thing I had for you. I don't know if you. So I wasn't able, of course, in my bootleg research, I didn't see anything about Molly. The last news I had was that he had a rehab on the 20th, but that's almost a week ago. I don't know if we have anything up to date with him. I wanted to give an update on him just because it feels like we hadn't talked about him.
I think Friday night in Frisco, he's going to make the start. Okay. Because they have a to be determined on their rotation in Frisco, and then they've got Toyota and Santos going over the weekend, and Friday would line up with his day to pitch.
Okay.
So I think he's going to go at Frisco tonight.
Okay, cool. Well, that will be really good to see that, and I wonder at what point they're going to start stretching him out a little bit.
Well, he was up over 50. I think he threw 58 pitches in 2 2/3 his last game because he had 6 strikeouts or something like that, so he threw extra pitches. I think they want to probably try and get him up and down 4 times this time, at least get him into that 4th inning, even if it's just getting up and throwing to one batter to get, you want to start getting that idea of what it's like to throw 4 or 5 times, get up and down 4 or 5 times and have your team hit and all of that stuff. So they're getting close. I think Molly is probably about 2 rehab starts away from being ready to pitch Major League Baseball.
Woo, man. One more.
and I am really excited about Molly because he was so good before the injury. He was a guy that was always on my radar when the Rangers needed pitching help back in the day, especially when they were excited about the idea of getting pitching help. So he was always on my radar, him and Descalfina and those guys. You know me, I was always on those guys. And when they're healthy, those guys are really good. It's just about being healthy for those guys.
So with one other quick note that I thought was of note, because Bruce Bochy doesn't make these kind of comments, hasn't made any comments like that this year really at all, but he doesn't make just comments just to make them. Usually all he gives you is facts. Doesn't really say anything outside of that. So he did say that this is the best, that this last 4 games started to remind him of the team that the 2023 squad. And really what he means is the team is acting like what we expect them to.
There seems to be a sense of urgency that hasn't been there all season long.
Yeah. And for him to make, I think for him to give the team a compliment publicly, tells you a couple of things. Number one, he's happy with the way things are going, but it also tells you that he wasn't happy at all up to this point, because he didn't make one compliment at any point.
I can't imagine that it's ever fun to every night in the press conference have to talk about what's wrong with the offense, what's wrong with the offense, what's wrong with the offense, what's wrong with the, Look, you think he doesn't know the slugging percentage for the team's down 100 points? You think he doesn't know the ops is down 150 points. He knows, man. I mean, he knows all these numbers. Just because he's a 70-year-old man doesn't mean he's stupid. That's one thing I've learned is like, I mean, being old doesn't mean you're stupid.
No,
you know what I'm saying? I mean, like, it just means that you like let the youngsters get away with more. Well, really, that's all it is. You know, I mean, he lets them get away with more, but he knows what all that is. He knows what's going on. You think he's in charge of this team. He's one of the top 10 greatest managers of all time.
Yeah.
You think he doesn't know? Come on, man. I mean, he's better at this than all of us combined.
Of course. Yeah.
You don't win 4 World Series championships with 2 different teams.
Yeah.
Because you're lucky.
You don't come into a squad that lost 90 games the year before and win the first World Series that they've ever won as an organization.
And go back and look at that 2009 San Francisco Giants team and tell me about all that fun. You know, I mean, this is a guy that took teams and turned them around and put them into the World Series. And, you know, I mean, like, look, he's good at this. He knows everything that's going on. He knows that the numbers are down. He knows all that stuff.
Well, before we hop into these box scores, let me give you guys a quick PSA about our exclusive content Down on the Farm with the Boys, where we cover all things Rangers minor league. Man, oh man, the last time we talked about this draft, and there was a lot of exciting news on the draft. So go back and check that out if you want to know anything about these. Get a little more info about these Rangers draft picks and really what we thought about them. I even asked Bull a couple of questions, like maybe who do you think is going to be the first couple of guys that get a sniff of the major leagues? And honestly, I feel like I'm learning about baseball because it was the guys I figured it would be. And just the other night on the broadcast, the Rangers' first round draft pick was on there. The catcher, what is his name?
Malcolm Moore.
Malcolm Moore. I wanted to say something Matt Moore, but I know that's not it. But Malcolm Moore on the broadcast the other night sounds like a good kid. Sounds like a really smart kid too.
He went to Stanford, so he's got to be kind of smart.
He was sharp. So go check it out. Go to our website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
That's all one word.
Or you can go to Spotify and just check it out there. It's $1.99 a month. Make us your one-stop shop for all things Rangers minor league. What are we doing this week, man? I mean, minor league.
We got 10 days of minor league baseball to talk about since the All-Star break, right? Because we did the draft special last week. So we'll have our top 10 of the last 10 days or 10 games of minor league baseball.
Sweet.
And we're going to talk about a couple of those kids that signed this week and who doesn't sign with the Rangers as we get closer to everybody getting signed up. I think the Rangers still have 3 guys that are unsigned in the draft, but all of the big pieces, Dreiling, Moore, the couple of the injured pitchers that they took that are going to be coming back off of Tommy John, all of those guys have been signed. So Hageman and a couple of the other ones, the kid from Liberty that we talked about a little bit. So there's some kids that they've got that are getting all their contract stuff worked out. We'll talk about that a little bit at the beginning, and then we'll probably talk about the top 10 players. And you know how that does. It works us into each individual farm system team and gives us an idea. And, you know, normally it comes with the idea that all 7 teams will be represented too. So it's not like it's some top 10 that's based on a whole bunch of numbers or anything like that. It's, again, like getting people acquainted with these minor league guys and getting them acquainted with the guys that may be dudes, you know? Yeah.
And also we did have some free agent signings since the draft isn't nearly as long as it used to be.
Yeah, we did. We had a handful, and they may even sign a couple of more kids before we talk on Sunday even.
Love it. Well, hey, let's get into these box scores and talk about these. So we got 2 games to cover. So
yeah, I wanted to do a show last night. I really did. And then StreamYard kind of gave me the business, and, it got late, and, there's only so much you can do. And I really did want to talk about that game yesterday, because the Rangers bats came alive, and you saw a little bit of everything from the sticks, and some of those people that you'd been really worried about starting to come out of it a little bit.
Well, I had a right, and then I had a wrong. So, I spent 20 minutes talking about Adolis Garcia possibly being injured and it possibly being his knee. Then he comes out, steals a base, goes 3 for 3.
3 for 5.
Yeah, goes out and just has an outstanding game. He's running all over the place, looking like a five-tool athlete. So that one didn't quite land maybe as well. But again, I will say in my defense.
Well, you weren't the only person that was thinking that he was injured. I mean, there were other guys.
But there's also in my defense, now, the type of injury that he's had and the issues that I'm concerned about have to do more with rotation and stability than they do with like running straight. So like stealing a base, running in a straight direction like that's not going to be as big of an issue as like having to make a change in direction, or like with bat, swinging a baseball bat where you're rotating and your weight shifting like that. I don't, if anybody listening's ever had like an ACL or an MCL, like you can run straight ahead. It's going side to side and rotating where the real issues come in with these tendon and ligament injuries. And so, in my defense, it could still be that, but I don't really care. I was glad to see Garcia have the game that he had. The other one that I was right on was I did say that just because the Rangers are facing a guy like Flexen who perennially gives up 5 runs per 9, that they needed to run this guy's pitch count up early as possible and work this guy into grind him into dust. And, the Rangers did that, man. He had 105 pitches over 4 2/3 innings. He wasn't bad, but the Rangers really put the business to him and got to the bullpen. And that's the team that we know, to the bullpen and beat up on the bullpen.
Yeah, and that was kind of like, and they knew they were in kind of a spot because the White Sox had used most of their guns the first 2 games trying to get one of those 2 games, or really both of those games, trying to win those games. There was an extra inning game where they had to use extra bullets. So the White Sox bullpen is kind of a little bit, thin right at the moment because of using all those guys a couple of nights in a row. And they needed as much length as they could possibly get to Flexen, so they didn't have to get to the bullpen super early. So a lot of credit to him to like work through to the 5th inning. But still, I mean, you're trying to get more than that from your starting pitcher, and the Rangers were able, even in a night where they didn't work a ton of walks, but they had 10 base runners or 9 base runners, something like that against him. So they were able to work base runners on, get to that bullpen, and then finally get to a piece because they hit Schuster pretty hard. Mm-hmm. They got 5 across or 6 across on him on 5 hits, and they punished him in every way. Everything that could have went wrong for him went wrong for him. The Rangers, on the other hand,
they didn't let Peralta off the hook either. He threw 30 pitches in that.
Yeah, and that could have been a lot worse inning for him too. After kind of looking back on it and all of that stuff, it's nice. I've been watching the Bally's replay.
Yeah.
So it's like I get the gist of it. Rangers, I mean, the bats came alive. They got 7 hits from Seager and Garcia, which that's probably the first time this year that's happened. If I had to guess, Lowe also had a couple of hits. Tavares had a couple of hits. Simeon had a hit. Josh Smith had a couple of hits and a couple of RBIs. They were able to work. What we talked about, the 4 walks. They had 10 hits. Or 15 hits and 10 runs. I mean, that's what the Rangers, what we were expecting to see, a hell of a lot more than what we've seen it this year. But, they're catching a good time to play a bunch of last place teams and get themselves in a position when they play the Astros the next time here in August for the last time in the season that they can, go down to, Houston. I think it's down there, and take a couple and or I think it might be here actually, but that's neither here nor there. Get a couple of those games and put himself in a position to where when they're playing in August here, that they're playing for first place with the Astros, and they're able to get themselves in a position, because it gets, they got a stretch there where they play the Yankees, Red Sox, Twins, Astros, Red Sox, like it's a pretty tough stretch after they get through St. Louis. And St. Louis is actually a much improved team as well this year, and they got to go up there and play them. So, they need to take these games in Toronto, keep that confidence high, so when they start playing some of these better teams, you start seeing a more competitive outlook from the Rangers.
Yeah, man. Also too, I think kind of one thing that might get overlooked in this game, but I think it bodes well for the team. It's important because the guy's on the team, and he's going to be on the team. He's going to play. Robbie Grossman hit a no-doubter a little later in the game, and again, he's on the team. He's gonna be on the team. And
yeah, I mean, if we're going to get a combination of Jankowski and Grossman somewhere at the DH level or whatever, I mean, they got to produce while they're there.
Yep. And so seeing Grossman, he's actually looked really good. He looked really good in the Chicago series. Really
quality bounce back from Nathan Eovaldi through 7 innings, got through, a couple of runs, 4 hits, didn't walk anybody, and struck out 10. So really nice bounce back from Eovaldi after he got beat around by the Orioles a little bit. So, and then another good inning from Leclerc. I love him, but anytime he puts up zeros, you gotta love that.
You gotta take it.
Anytime he makes it look like he had 3 strikeouts, right? He just struck out the side.
Yeah, no drama.
Yeah. So anytime there's no drama from Jose Leclerc, we're happy. And then after they put on a whole bunch of runs, Garabito came in there, got that ERA down to 135. So good for him. If he doesn't make it back to the big leagues, he's going to have a career 135 ERA. So I imagine he's going to get another shot somewhere.
Oh, yeah. And with Garabito, he throws 94, and whatever that slider sweeper thing that he throws, that thing moves. That thing moves like 5.
Did you talk about what's his face, Derek Hill getting claimed by the Giants the other night? I didn't know if I listened to the show, but
No, we talked about it. And again,
not shocking. He's earned a major league spot, and the Giants.
And he might end up earning himself a 4th outfielder in the MLB. If he can hit,
he's worth it, man. Especially if you're on a team right now that's, you're building towards the future. I know he's out of options and all that, but I think he's a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah. He can do a lot of the stuff you need him to do. And again, he's got speed, can play all the outfield positions. Does what he needs to do. Cool thing too about that game, a lot of good stuff to talk about. Multi-hit games from Tavares, Lowe, and Josh Smith. Josh Smith also with that nice sac fly there when you didn't know that you were going to score 10 runs. Getting
that add-on run, and then it ends up being an overflow. But yeah, if we want to put a pretty bow on it, let's put it on there that Nathan Eovaldi, he gets the W 7-4 with a 3.31 ERA. And then Flexen, he takes the loss, falls to 2-10. He's got a 5.25 ERA. It's been a tough season for him, but he's learning to compete in the big leagues. And he's 30 years old. He's got some opportunity. It's not like it's the end of the world. And like you said, he got worked hard, and he still worked them 5 innings and kind of kept them competitive in the ball game, because it was 3-2 when he left the ball game. So it was a competitive game. Yeah. And, he's better than what the record shows. And, he is not a bad pitcher in the major leagues. He's just got, it doesn't help when his bullpen goes out there and gives up 7.
Yeah, he's going to get some innings for you. Career 5 ERA guy, but you never know, man. These guys, the pitchers figure stuff out later.
He also plays, he's also played on all bad teams too. Yeah. You get him to a situation where he's the 5th guy on a good team, and he may be having more like a 3.25 ERA.
Well, and look at Michael Lorenzen. These pitchers usually figure it out later than sooner.
I agree. Yesterday, that was Scherzer was every bit as good as he looked bad.
Yeah, that's man.
Yeah, I thought like that was
off.
a really
Hats off.
solid 6 innings. He looked like the bulldog that he normally looks at. And I don't care if it's the White Sox or not. They're still all pro baseball players.
Yeah, man.
They all play in the big leagues, and there's some really good players over there in that lineup. So, Scherzer getting back on track, 9 strikeouts to just 1 walk. That's huge. I mean, you want to see it every time from Scherzer. Also, Latz had a little bit of trouble, but there's our guy Leclerc coming and cleaning it up. So all of a sudden, I mean, that 360s happened on Leclerc, and it seemed like it happened about this time last year. And hopefully we get that Leclerc from last year down the stretch. I'm not going to put any juju or anything like that on it, but let's hope that we're starting to see that guy.
That would be so necessary, because now you've got guys that, if you can have guys that can shut you down 6 through 9, but also in these long stretches like this where they play 13 games in a row, including road trips in these 13 games in a row, you need guys that could come in and help, because Yates can't close down every game.
And how about David Robertson's 19 pitch, 15 strike, 2 innings scoreless outing today? That's as good as it gets in Major League Baseball right there. On a night that Kirby Yates wasn't available, David Robertson came in and gave him 2 full innings because Leclerc had given him an inning the night before, comes right into a big pressure situation, gets that out. Instead of going back to him and having something happen in the 8th inning there, he went to it's almost like it didn't really have a rhyme or reason to, but it worked. And that's just what Bochy, when they're going and they're going to get you 2, get it.
Yeah.
Get it. And Robertson just been masterclass all season, man. What an A+ pitcher that guy is.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
A 39-year-old veteran that just comes in there and hucks 95-mile-an-hour cutters right down the middle of the plate and says, hit it.
Yeah, I have nothing but the utmost respect for David Robertson.
I want to say, it's been a real pleasure being able to watch him in person. We've all heard about him for so many years and he's been one of those guys that he's been put in some really rough spots, coming in behind Mariano Rivera to be if you're not perfect, you're going to get criticized Mariano Rivera is perfect, but watching him pitch this whole season, he's been so good. The Rangers get a solo home run from Marcus Semien, and Tavares had an RBI there to kind of get that winning run, right? They scored that one first. I can't remember. I didn't watch. I was driving on.
Semien came in, got the homer, blasted a homer. And then Rangers challenged a play at first base. And then Leote grounded out into a force out. And that got Nate Lowe home on the ground out. So, really one of the things that this team has done over this stretch, aside from night before last with the 10-2, is they've done everything possible to win games. The pitching has been honestly phenomenal, because
I would say since the Heaney start in Baltimore, now they're a full stretch of 5 games where they've gotten just wonderful starting pitching.
Yeah, and I
didn't get to rave about how good John Gray was the other night. I hope you did it for me.
I did.
Okay.
And one of the things the Rangers actually are one of the best, I think 4th best in Major League Baseball, is that opponent's batting average. And, the if it's not for that 6-7 inning kind of thing that they've dealt with this year on the back end of their starters, Rangers have one of the best pitching staffs in baseball this year. Those are the only reason the ERA is high like it is, and really that stretch where they had a lot of walks. But all in all, the Rangers pitching has been great, but really over these last few games, the offense is just doing what it can, whatever it can to score runs, and hats off to them for having to change their identity, because they're the second worst team in baseball at hitting doubles. I think they're 23rd in slugging. but they do hit singles and they can make contact. They're not they don't strike out a ton. So they've kind of changed their identity on offense. Leody Tavares with the 2 sack bunts 2 nights in a row. One of those was huge. And just doing what you got to do to win ball games, man. Sacrifice flies, grounding out.
Getting them across, yeah.
Getting them across. Bases, the double steal thing with Smith and Garcia the other night, being like a big heads-up play because they had the shift on. It's just stuff like that. This is what it's baseball, and it's just good to see that the team is like shifting to be what they need to be.
Yeah, a little bit rough today with runners in scoring position. They just had the 1 hit, but overall they got guys on. They just didn't get them in today. They had the 10 hits. It just didn't get a bunch of runs across, but they did enough to win. Max Scherzer good again today, so they had Eovaldi and Scherzer both good back-to-back nights. Things are starting to look pretty fair for the Rangers right now, and they're going to Toronto. They've got Heaney going on the hill tonight. But let's put a quick bow on yesterday. Scherzer gets the win. He's 2-3 with a 3.57 ERA. And Jonathan Cannon takes the loss. He's 1-5 with a 4.43 ERA. David Robertson picks up his 2nd save of the season, and that ERA is creeping down to 3 now for Robertson. A clean inning sometime this weekend, and he'll be under that 3 mark for sure. And the Rangers, man, they got a big weekend this weekend because we're trying to decide whether this thing's a buyer, seller, stand patter at the trade deadline. And they're gonna send Andrew Heaney to the hill against Kikuchi, my favorite name to say in all of baseball. He's 4-9 with a 4.54 ERA. You go out there and you get to him and see what happens. But, there's winnable games on the table right here for the Rangers. It's Saturday. You've got it's a 2:07 start there. Michael Lorenzen's going to get the ball for the Rangers. They're going to face Gausman. Gausman's velocity has been way down this year, and he's been hit quite a bit harder. His ERA sitting close to 4.5. So, that's not the Gausman last year that you could put one on the board for Toronto. This is a winnable game as well. And then Sunday, the Rangers are going to send John Gray to the hill. Hopefully, he's back on track a little bit, and he'll be facing Jose Barrios. And Barrios has been okay, but he's about a 500 pitcher right now, so you can get him. He's a little bit over 4 ERA, so go out there, score a couple of runs, and get yourself in a position to win 2 out of these 3 games and come back or get to St. Louis close to the trade deadline in a spot where you're thinking, hey, we're right in this thing and we can win this division.
Yeah. Toronto is better, is a better team than the record shows, but we're catching them at a great time because they really just
and their bullpen is kind of falling apart at a bad time for them. So the Rangers can go in there and they can go up to Toronto and sneak 3 games out of there. And I'm going to try my hardest to have our good buddy Stu Stone on Sunday night to talk Toronto baseball with us.
Well, that would be an amazing thing to have Stu on here, really just to see his beautiful face and hear his voice that you just can't forget it once you've heard it once. But would love to see that, and would love to have Stu on here. Definitely a friend of the show and really just a friend of ours. One more thing I want to add to this whole, winning streak. I mean, don't look now, man, but Semien and Seager both are showing signs of really getting hot. I think
Semien is well past the 1 for 40 or whatever. He was stuck in there right before the All-Star break. He's making good contact every night, and even when it's a night where he doesn't have a whole lot to show for it, you're seeing good contact from him. And Corey Seager, I mean, since basically May 1st has been one of the top baseball hitters at the plate. So, we're seeing it now, and hopefully they can have a nice stretch down through August and September, and these dog days come up cherries for the Rangers.
Yeah. I can see, because I think Semien's batting like 353, like 354, maybe 350, 420, and like 550, something like that, over like a 10-game stretch or something like that.
Yeah.
He's been really coming around. So if these guys are gonna play like the all-stars that they are. And you're going to give me a Jacob deGrom back. You're going to give me
Tyler Molly.
You're going to put Cody Bradford and Dane Dunning in my bullpen. You're going to give me Kirby Yates and
and if deGrom that means if deGrom and Molly come into the rotation, that's going to put you in a situation where probably Andrew Heaney and John Gray would move to the bullpen. So it's only going to make you stronger, only going to make you better. As they get more arms, you can never have enough arms. We all know that.
Yep.
We all know that. I mean, nothing against anybody, but whatever makes the team best, that's what I want.
Yep.
Man, it was good being back to talk Rangers together. It feels like it's been forever, right?
And it really hasn't, but it has.
No, but it feels like it.
It's good to get back at it, and it's been fun. And let's get ready for let's come back. Hopefully, we got some great news coming back off the weekend about from this series, and that we've got. I'll take 2 or 3, man. I mean, 3 or 3 will be great, but I'll take 2 or 3. Let's go win a series out in Toronto.
And, hey, if anything happens on the trade deadline or the trade front, we may break in and talk about it this weekend.
Oh, yeah. If it's big news for this team, we're talking about it. We'll break in and give you something. So love it, man.
I mean, if somebody that's a free agent, that they're bringing in here to help this thing at the end of the year, we're going to talk about it. If it's something bigger than that, we're going to talk about that too. Yep.
Well, hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to check us out on social media, TX Rangers WTB. Don't forget to check that website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
Yeah, that's just one word.
Man, I needed to hear. I haven't heard it in so long.
I hear you.
Man, and hey, thanks for checking us out right here on YouTube at the Sports Fluent Network. You want to find us here, just go to that search bar and type Texas Rangers with the Boys. Hit that subscribe button. What else you should subscribe to is our exclusive content Down on the Farm with the Boys. I want to give a big shout out to our farm hands, our dedicated listeners who are just baseball fanatics and pay a little bit extra to get that extra bit of knowledge about this team that we're all so crazy about. And so, yes, big thanks to you guys, and we really appreciate it. And let's go Rangers. Let's take this series against Toronto and come back on Monday morning. Happy Ranger fans, maybe somewhere closer to that division lead.
First place Texas Rangers.
Oh, man, it'd be nice to get back on it. Well, hey, let's leave on that.
One game under 500 right now, so they're right back here. A win tonight gets them back to 500.
Man, that's what I would love to see. So let's leave on that thought for the 300-pound manimal. This is your boy, Kev. We are Texas Rangers with the Boys. We're signing out.